India is the second largest contributor to GitHub projects, with a participation percentage of 19% of all the global projects. Just think about that. 1/5 of the world's AI projects on GitHub are coming out of India. Not even talking about the Indian diaspora and the rest of the world, but out of India. So just imagine the role we are playing at the forefront of AI. The second thing, we are by far the largest hirers of AI-skilled people in AI jobs. At about 33% of all technology hires are listed as AI hires. Leading industries like financial services are driving AI for things like fraud detection, customer service, predictive analysis. We have many lagging industries, but we're seeing at the forefront of this our own financial services industry in thinking about the uses and the outcomes that AI can provide. And we also see emerging momentum in industries like healthcare and retail and education, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into some of the social impact of at least a couple of the industries I just mentioned to you, let's talk a little bit about MSMEs and what we think about when we think about MSMEs today. MSMEs, as all of you know, make up about 40% of the GDP today. And they are the biggest feeder to India Inc. And so the potential as well as the current value of MSMEs is unmatched. However, large enterprises have deep pockets to experiment with AI and to identify outcomes and whether they work or they don't work, because everybody's concerned about things like accuracy, bias, etc. We at HP are working in multiple ways to address the possibility of a digital divide that leaves MSMEs behind in being able to use AI to its advantage. I'm going to just talk to you about two right now. One of them is our SMB Connect platform. Actually, we refer to it as the HP Connect brand. Think of it as customer welcome and demo centers around the country that cater to SMEs. The idea being that it gives you a sense of the wide array of products and services we have available, but even more than that, it provides consulting services so that if you are a small business owner in an industry that really needs to think about your digital transformation, it's almost a CIO as a service platform. And where we are emphasizing putting these HP Connect stores or environments is in tier 2, tier 3 cities, co-located with SMB clusters or MSME clusters that allow for people to have access. The second thing that we're doing is we are actually running AI immersion workshops across the entire country with the goal to complete 10,000. We are already at something like 3,500. Specifically targeting employees in MSMEs, finance, marketing, operations, HR, to come in to these 4 to 6 hour training workshops that allow you to sit in front of a device and look at tools that make your job more productive and easier. And the reason we're doing this is because we recognize that the highest value that AI can provide, though many people are talking about it and it's a buzzword, is to be able to sit on a device at an endpoint and understand the value it can create for you in every single day. So AI, from an MSME perspective, needs to bridge and not be a barrier to inclusive economic growth. So from here, let's talk a little bit about AI for social impact, because in a country like India, no technology is good enough unless there's a value in social impact. Even for those of you who were paying attention to the budget that was released in February, you notice that it went to a consumption budget. It also focused largely on social sector impact, specifically in healthcare and education. From an education perspective, AI on the device adds tremendous value in customized access to customized learning for 200 million K-12 students that we have in country today. And with healthcare, it allows us to leverage data and information and assisted diagnoses, early diagnoses and treatment for patients. In a country where we have in the low thousands of, let's say, oncologists or cardiologists, but 600,000 general physicians, just imagine being able to enable them with a device that allows them to diagnose and treat. We haven't stopped at just recognizing that these are opportunities for us. We're actually working with government and industry on proofs of concept and on ways to work in the market to drive value and solutions around AI in these sectors. So we've talked a little bit about the overall India opportunity. We've talked about large enterprise. We've talked about MSME, and we've talked about social impact. Now let's go to what makes up the crux of all of this. And what makes the crux of all of this is workers. Being the youngest, most highly skilled tech population in the world, India is not dealing with the future of work. India is the future of work, servicing an aging global community. AI allows us to respond to the exponential global demand with speed and quality, and this is highly essential for us if you recognize the fact that there is a massive skill gap, even within the country, to meet the country's demand. Forget about the global demand that we're going to see coming. AI lets us embrace the future. It lets us, whether it's a freelancer working from home or a worker on an enterprise floor, it allows us to do our jobs better, with more balance, focus on creating versus mundane work, and all of this on a device that becomes very personal to us. So, how can we make AI real? Making AI real to us is 4 things. First is for it to be meaningful and substantive. It has to fit into the requirements of what we have to do in our daily lives and the outcomes we have to deliver. Second, it has to be inclusive and mainstream. One of the priorities of government and industry in India is not to build or invest in any technology that isn't inclusive. We as a country have to think of hundreds of millions of people on any technology we deploy. So mainstream is a very important part of what AI means to us. It has to be powerful. You know, when I got my first AI PC, it took me 2 months to open it and transition from my PC before to that one, because I hadn't started to think about ways that it was going to change my day or make my day more productive. So it has to be powerful enough for people to pivot. And finally, and probably most importantly in the world that we live in today, it has to be secure. So with that, I'm incredibly energized and we are incredibly excited to move forward on this journey with everyone and with all of you. And with that, I just want to let us introduce HP's next generation of AI PCs.
Ipsita for that thought-provoking presentation. I hope you're all feeling excited and energized. Yes, we are? Yes?
That's Ipsita, and that's Mr. Senior Director, Personal